Hello there, once again. Welcome back to ASMR Deadly Sins 2011. I hope that you enjoyed my very first video. If you didn't, please check it out. It was a video where I set up PCSX2 for the not for the very first time, but it was when I set it up for the first time here in ASMR format. If you didn't check it out, please check it out. I hope that you would enjoy it, and I hope that if you did watch it, I hope you did enjoy it. And we're back for more. In today's video, we're going to be resetting up Burnout Revenge, but this time we would be setting it up with a different version of PCSX2, a different dev build, if you will. If you don't know what dev builds of PCSX2 are, which for the record, if you don't know what PCSX2 is, it's an emulator of PlayStation 2. You can check out the link in the description box below to see the latest dev builds of PCSX2. They are always available for download, and they are the absolute best versions of the best PS2 emulator in existence. Well, to be fair, AetherSX2 on Android, which has just been released, is probably going to give PCSX2 a run for its money in terms of the amount of things that you could really do with it, because it even features Vulkan compatibility, which is something that PCSX2 does not have as of yet. But obviously, if you're looking for emulation in a computer, obviously emulation is going to be much harder in a phone. So if you're looking for it in a computer, PCSX2 is probably your choice to go, without a doubt. And the dev builds of PCSX2 are the absolute best versions possible of the emulator. I would recommend that you go with those instead of going with the 1.6.0 version that is available for download on the official PCSX2 website. I personally recommend the dev builds much more. They are more stable, they are more thorough, and they feature resolutions. Well, not resolutions. They certainly feature fixes to many bugs and many glitches that you see in the official versions that are released in the website. And one of those glitches, a glitch that has existed for at least 4 years. As a matter of fact, I might be wrong by saying this, but it might just be a 6 year. My 6 year glitch that might have been reported for the first time 6 years ago is a glitch with Burnout, specifically Burnout 3 Takedown, as well as Burnout Revenge. That it's a glitch that features a black sky. When you start the game in hardware mode or anything that's not software mode, the game boots up with a black sky. Clouds don't render, and the game is playable, sure, but it's a little weird to see how the sky is not rendered. You have to boot the game in software mode first, and then turn back to hardware mode, or stick to software mode if you like. But if you want to play the game in hardware mode, you had to boot the game in software mode first, and then it would turn. It would render correctly. Well, now, one of the latest dev builds of PCSX2, you don't need to do that anymore. This is PCSX2 1.7.2131. As I said, this is one of the latest builds, and this build, its main feature is actually that it fixes the problem with Burnout Revenge. It fixes the problem that Burnout Revenge. Well, I said Burnout Revenge, but it pretty much most Burnout games, Burnout 3 also as well. It fixes the issue of the black sky. You no longer need to boot the game in software mode in order for the game to render the clouds correctly and for actually feature a sky that's not complete utter darkness that has even had memes done about it. You can just boot the game in hardware mode straight away, and the clouds will render correctly. That is a bug that has existed for many years and has finally been corrected in this build of PCSX2. And now we're going to be showing you off just how exactly is that build working, and we're also going to be featuring some gameplay, as well as some controller sounds that hopefully will be relaxing for you. This time I actually know how to set up OBS in order to show gameplay as well as my sounds in real time. So this time I'm pretty sure you'll get a better experience than you did the previous time. So yeah, let's just get started. Let's just check the configuration for Burnout Revenge once again. Again, this is a budget laptop. It's a budget laptop with high performance. Granted, I have a CPU of an AMD Ryzen 4300U, which is a very powerful CPU for a budget laptop. But still, nevertheless, I do want to point out that it's a modest system. With that, I do have speed hacks for Burnout Revenge. Burnout Revenge is a very CPU intensive game. I have all of these turned on. Again, this is Portuguese. I'm sure, however, that if you have the English version, you probably don't need much in order to really set this up correctly. I'm sure that you can see the image, and you can figure out for yourself that everything just sets up the same way. But it is very important, if you do have a laptop like mine, that you have this EE cycle jump set to 2. It says that it's not recommended, but I can say that in my case, it really doesn't affect gameplay in a significantly bad way. Sometimes it has an occasional glitch that it stutters and it stops temporarily and then it repeats and loops for a few seconds, but then it goes back to normal. So and that glitch is not very frequent, so I can't really say that this is a game breaking speed hack in any way for me. But that's just my experience. With your computer, it can be completely different. So do it with your own discretion. With that said, if you do want a game to perform in a budget laptop, I recommend that you have all of these turned on, especially if you have a 3 or more core CPU, have MTVU turned on. If you don't have 3 cores, you can check this off and you can turn this off. This is instant VUI. It's the same thing as MTVU, but it applies only to cores that do not have three. To CPUs that do not have 3 or more cores. But that is not the case with me. I actually do have a 4-core CPU, so I'm going to be setting to MTVU. Right, and with graphics settings, unlike the last time where I had to boot the game in software mode, this time I'm actually going to be booting the game straight away with Direct3D 11. That is my preferred go-to method for rendering games. I know that a lot of people prefer OpenGL, but I'm very positive that OpenGL is most compatible with you if you have an NVIDIA card. With me, I found that OpenGL is a lot slower and a lot less stable than 3D11. That's probably because I have an AMD card, as you can see right here. And for the record, this is an integrated card. I did not modify my GPU in any way. This is an integrated card, and it's actually pretty decent, which is pretty good. Obviously, nowhere near the power of a GTX or an RTX, but for what it is, it suffices. So if you have an AMD card, my personal experience is that you should go for this. If you have an NVIDIA card, you should go for this. If you have a very powerful CPU and you prefer that the CPU renders the games, you can go with software mode. Personally, software mode really should only be recommended for computers that have very powerful CPUs and for people that don't mind their games to not look very good. In my case, I will say that Burnout Revenge looks very good at native resolution, but in many other cases, I upscale the internal resolution up from native because I don't think it looks that good at native resolution. I tend to go for either 720p or 1080p. In software mode, you can't do that because software mode is basically just a point by point a point by point recreation of the original graphics of a PlayStation 2. With that said, if you don't mind that, software mode is probably most compatible with most games. It's the reason why I recommended software mode to boot Burnout games. It's because software modes are much less buggy. Hardware modes are naturally more buggy. But with that said, if you prefer perhaps a faster experience or a more stable experience, go for software mode. If you actually want your games to feature legit graphical improvements, go for one of these two, depending on your card. Right. With all that said, I also want to point out that I have accurate destination alpha test. I have GPU palette conversion. Again, internal resolution I have set to native. I've already tried 720p, but it was still a little slow, despite the fact that it had some changes with this build. This build makes internal resolutions a little faster when they're upscaled, but it's still slow. You still need a much more powerful CPU than the one that I have in order to really get the game going at higher resolutions. So personally, I'm going to stick to it. I personally find that the game looks very good as it is on native resolution anyway. I was able to render the game at 1080p in the previous video, so it is what it is. I don't mind. I don't mind native resolution anyway. Everything else, I have it at default modes except for dithering. I have scale dithering. I find that this mode is very important in order for me to reduce graphical artifacts when I'm upscaling. When it comes to burnout, since I have it at native resolution, I probably will have it set at unscaled, which is the default mode. So yeah, I said that I had dithering at not default mode, but I just changed that right in front of you. And that's really it. Everything else set at default. That's that's personally fine for my computer. For your computer, if your CPU can perform well with this game, and you know that it's a much more stronger CPU than mine, then absolutely just go for whatever you like. Absolutely, you can even boot the game up to higher resolutions than 4K even. In my PC, if I tried to do that, my CPU would cook. So I'm not going to try to do that. With that said, I'm also not going to be having anything else set up, but you can. I do have texture filtering of display. Um, I could try to pull FXAA shader up, but I'm not. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's about it. There's really no need to do anything else here. Um, so yeah, just let's put the game. From now on, I'm going to be swapping my computer screen, and I'm going to be swapping to another mode within OBS in order for you to enjoy controller sounds and for you to enjoy the game with less volume so that you can relax and have yourself a night of sleep while you watch some cars racing at really high speeds. So, hope you enjoy. I'm really bad at crash mode in this game. In Burnout 3, I was a king, modesty aside, but in Burnout Revenge, I don't really like how crash mode works. Anyway, as you can see, the sky is completely rendered, is actually a clear blue sky. And I didn't need to boot the game in software mode. I booted the game in hardware mode, and straight away you got that. So now with this build, that's what you get, and it is a great improvement, a much welcome improvement. A few years too late of an improvement. Right. Well, enough rambling. This is the glitch that I was talking about, but it quickly fixes. Now we're gonna skip this. Alright, I'm back, and that first one went slightly better than my expectations. I did not expect the crash event to work as well as it did. I also came back with improved desktop audio, so now you can actually listen to the game. I'm not sure which one you prefer, if you prefer the game to be silent or if you prefer listening to some sounds in the game. I hope that I don't get demonetized for featuring music in this video. I don't think I will because I'm talking over it. So, with that said, let's move on and see some other gameplay. Let's go with this one.
forget which ones I can crash into and which ones I can't. Crushed so many times already. And yeah, that was another video. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I wish you a very good night, or good afternoon, or good morning, or whatever. And we'll see each other soon. Bye.